working, I think.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you both.
It's so funny you came eye to eye.
Kind of sitting in a different spot here. We have the doors open because it's pretty warm. So probably a little more ambient noise on your end. as if I'm cute. I had somebody say that she was interested in coming, and then she was like, "Oh, I thought you guys were all gonna spend time writing together." You know, so then she said, didn't seem like it was what she was in need of.
She wanted to write.
I think so. In community,
Concert or
something like that.
By yourself.
I don't know. I could have meant a few things, probably the latter, but I don't really know. So I thought,
Hey, Steve, what's that word for, you know, when you, that's what she was going to do.
exactly.
You know, when you want.
The whole time. A full hour of, it's on the tip of my tongue. Let me restart.
So you guys can really help me.
How are you guys doing there?
Good. I am missing something I thought I brought in from work, and that's always a funny feeling, like where the heck is it? But oh well, I'll find it later.
You need a minute or?
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's just, it was in my hand and now it's not there. It's as if it disappeared, which is the first thing I always think. I mean, ever since the acceptance of quantum theory, I think that we have to expect that it's a possibility.
The things just disappeared.
I think that's perfectly fine.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
This is our 15th gathering. So
quantum theory works on the nanoscale level.
Yes.
Not on the macro, but never mind.
How can it work on a micro or not the macro?
That's the complication.
Yep.
The different set of physics for the different scales. So far as you can tell.
Hypothetically, yes.
So next week is our gathering 16, and the theme for next week is archetypes.
Which I will not be able to make.
So Harry said he can't make it for that. But who knows? You might submit something or whatever before that.
Before
then we can read it. Possibly. And so for archetypes, it could be on the idea of archetypes, and it could be specific archetypes. So the theme could be a specific archetype or the idea of archetypes or all of the archetypes or something. So this week the theme is echoes. So has anybody brought something they'd like to read that's on theme?
I brought something I wrote, but I didn't get to any research.
Okay. I think that'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know how all art is. It's always hard to leave it alone. Right, Sarah? No matter what kind, it's hard to just say it's done.
That is difficult.
It is, isn't it? And I think that's just part of the creative process. More time, more action. Anyway, okay, so here's my poem about echoes. It's a long time since I've heard an echo. Now many, many, many long years. And yet the last is still with me, bringing feelings nearer than near. Imagine a small streamed valley, rolling hillsides soft and steep, a glow of orange sun now a setting, people cooking, enjoying some drink. One neighbor calls out to another. Across the holler, they yell and they sing. Their song resounds off the hillsides. What a beautiful echo it brings. The memory, these soundings repeating. Through the valley they wandered away. Wandered off across the roads of old Mexico. How fondly I remember that day.
That was awesome, Darcy.
Really good.
Aw,
I really like
you
the
read
one.
that so well too.
Thank you.
You know
It
why?
made
It's
me
called
feel good 'cause
holler.
it's the first time I actually got a poem that I sort of liked, even though I was still changing it at the last minute. You like the use of the word holler? Yes, thank you, Steve.
That was Harry was going to add something about holler.
Well, they call it a holler because you have to holler to get across the valley.
Because you can holler across the valley.
You have to.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could walk across and say hi, but that's the way I guess they communicated, hello.
Well,
Oh,
I decided, Harry, to look that word up just because it's a word like, in the mid-south here, we call it holla, or holler, like
that
HOLLAR.
distinct from hollow.
I think it's hollow is what the
Well, it
original.
is, but it's also from
Hollow's like a riverbed.
it is from
Or road.
hollow, but yes, but it's also from holler, which literally in French means hi there.
Oh, wow.
Holler. I mean, I'm not sure that that's I mean, that was the part of the etymology. So I
Right.
thought that was interesting. I should just look back and
And it means
Just say
I missed
hello.
that, Harry.
to say hello,
Yeah, like let me just
like
get to the
hola in Spanish.
No, actually this was French, but let me just get back to it because I don't want to just paraphrase here. It was interesting. Nope, gotta pay for my dictionary here. Hold on a second.
Don't do that.
Okay, holler. Of course, is to cry out loud. Origins of holler, a variant of holla. In the South Midland, a hollow. Um, to shout or yell. From French, hola, HOLA. I have no idea how to say that. Literally, ho there. Ho there with an exclamation mark. Ho there. So hola, holla.
That's in Spanish too. You would say hola.
Probably yes. Well,
So
they're
they're
both
really close.
yeah, they're both Latin-based languages. So
Right.
yeah, I thought that it's simple, but I just thought that was. It says an Americanism dating back to 1835.
Can we hear the whole poem again?
Sure. Oh, I'd love to read it again. Thank you. Yes, I'd love to. Okay. It's a long time since I've heard an echo, now many, many, many long years, and yet the last is still with me, bringing feelings nearer than near. Imagine a small streamed valley, rolling hillsides, soft and steep, a glow of orange sun now a setting, people cooking, enjoying some drink. One neighbor calls out to another. Across the holler, they yell and they sing. Their song resounds off the hillsides. What a beautiful echo it brings. The memory, these soundings repeating. Through the valley they wandered away, wandered off across the roads of old Mexico. How fondly I remember that day. Thank you, Sarah. I saw that. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
nice when you have something that you kind of feel. It's nice to have something. It's like the first poem I've had any feeling of like, okay, that felt good. That was
Mm.
storytelling.
Yay.
Right, right. can you tell us anything about that? What inspired it or something?
I was with my dad, and I was probably about 27, and I had taken him to Mexico because he had never been. And we took a drive out in the countryside where we probably, like, I don't know, we had no fear. There was no fear of being out there in the Jeep alone. And we were out with, I mean, it was out in the countryside in Mexico. And it was beautiful. And there was we pulled over because the sun was setting and the smoke was settling, the smoke from cooking stoves was settling. You could just see a light flashing on here or there as the sun was going down. And we stepped out of the Jeep and we were along the, sort of in the middle of the hillside. And literally, the poem, as I read it, is what happened. We heard the people start interacting.
Right.
And I recall it as some music too, but some singing, some music, just a little bit of sound, maybe a banjo. It's hard to say if that's a memory I'm putting in there, but the rest of it was the sound, the echoes, and that it was the resounding. It was all so natural and beautiful. There was a communication happening between maybe 5 or 6 neighbors over a couple miles, you know,
Yeah.
2 people on this side, 3 on that other at a distance, but they clearly knew what they were doing,
Right.
and they were echoing, and, it was just a beautiful, fun memory with my dad just standing there, and
Wow.
it was so nice.
Wow. It's really special.
Thank you for sharing that. It was quite cool. Anybody else have one?
I have one. It's kind of long. If it fits with the time, I could do it now or at the end if there's extra time. What do you think?
If you're in the mood for it, I'd like to hear it.
Okay.
Give you 17 seconds and go.
Hold on. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great.
This is a song by Saul Williams. It's called Untimely Meditations. The fiery sun of my passions evaporates the love lakes of my soul, clouds my thoughts and rains you into existence. As I take flight on bolts of lightning, claiming chaos as my concubine and you as my me. I of the storm, you of the sea. We of the moon, land of the free. What have I done to deserve this? Am I happy? Happiness is a mediocre sin set for a middle-class existence. I see through smiles and smell truth in the distance. Beyond one-dimensional smiles and laughter lies our hereafter where tears echo laughter. You'd have to do math to divide a smile. By a tear times 4, by a tear times fear equals mere truth. I simply delve in the air as if that's the case. All I have to breathe and all else will follow. That's why drums are hollow and I like drums. Drums are good, but I can't think straight. I lack the attention span to meditate. My attention spans, galaxies here and now are meant. Seconds or secular, moments are mine. Self is illusion, music's divine. Noosed by the strings of Jimmy's guitar, I swing purple hazed pendulum, hypnotizing the part of I that never dies. Look into my eyes are the windows of the soul. It's fried chicken, collies, and cornbread. It's corn milk, flour, sour cream, eggs, and oil. It's the stolen blood of the earth, used to make cars run and kill the fish. Who me, I play scales, the scales of dead fish of oil slicked seas. My sister blows wind through the hollows of fallen trees. And we are the echoes of eternity, echoes of eternity, echoes of eternity. Maybe you heard of us. We do rebirths, revokes, and resurrections. We threw basement parties and pyramids. I left my tag on the wall. The beats would echo of the stone and solidify into the form of light bulbs, destined to light of the heads of future generations. They're releasing it up in the form of Om. Maybe you heard of us. If not, then you must be trying to hear us. In such cases, we can't be heard. We remain in the darkness, unseen, in the center of unpeeled bananas. We exist uncolored by perception, clothed to the naked eye. 5 senses cannot sense the fact of our existence, and that's the only fact. In fact, there are no facts. Fax me a fact, and I'll telegram, I'll hologram, I'll telephone the Son of Man and tell him he is done. Leave a message on his answering machine telling him there are none. God and I are one. Times moon, times star, times sun, the factor is me. You remember me. I slung amethyst rocks on Saturn blocks till I got caught up by earthling cops. They wanted me for their army or whatever. Picture me, I swirl like the wind, tempting tomorrow to be today, tiptoeing the fine line between everything and everything else. I am simply Saturn, swirling sevenths through sooth, the soul living air of air and I, and all else follows, reverberating the space inside of drum hollows. Package and bottles and chips, and tomorrow then sold to the highest. I swing to this tallest tree, lynched by the lowest branches of me, praying that my physical will set me free because I'm afraid that all else is vanity. Mere language is profanity. I'd rather hum or have my soul tattooed to my tongue and let the scriptures be sung in gibberish as words be simple fish in my soul aquarium. And intellect can't swim, so I stopped combing my mind so my thoughts could lock. I'm tired of trying to understand. Perceptions are mangled, matted, and knotted anyway. Life is more than what meets the eye and I. So elevate I to the third, and even that shit seems absurd, and your thoughts leave your third isolated. No man is an island, but I often feel alone, so I find peace through Om.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. Wow.
Make sure that gets published because you have some great wordplay in there. That, you know, I heard it, but I don't know it well because you were a little fast, I think, trying to get it all in. But epic.
Yeah, it is epic. I'll send the lyrics to Steve, and maybe I can find a way to send you the recording of it, which is really good.
Yeah, you can send me the link to both and I'll add them to the notes.
Okay.
I was struck by the phrase small truth in the distance.
Mm.
And then the end, your thoughts leave your third eye salated.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you would hear that one.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. Wow, thank you.
Mhm.
So I was thinking about, the idea of an echo is that what leaves home returns to home, or what leaves origin returns to origin, which is very much the fundamental idea in Taoism. That from which we come is that to which we return, which we often refer to as Wu Ji. And it's interesting that, we use language, we call out, we speak out, we holla, and the voice leaves the self. But in the case of an echo, you speak to yourself. And so there's this space of time between when you speak and when you hear.
Mm.
The echo takes its time, right? Like you see a lightning and then you hear the thunder. There's a different pace of the sound returning. And so just thinking about that idea of return, does that mean like our whole existence is an echo? Leaves the origin and returns to the origin. Like, are we living echoes?
Mm.
The other thing I thought is that, the echoes are this extra sound. Like you can speak something and it repeats. right? Bouncing off the cave walls or what have you. But you can do one action and receive many reactions. And that kind of feels like this idea of something arising without effort. Like I don't repeat myself 10 times to have myself repeated 10 times. I simply speak to that which echoes, whether that's the valley or the cave wall, when Plato's done with it, maybe.
To rather internal sort of effort. You don't need a lot of other people around to interact with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a solitary. That's what I mean.
Yeah, solitary. Yeah. And I was thinking, how that might kind of help us understand this idea of arising without effort or arising without action or wu wei or something like that. How the echo is a multiplication of your efforts without your putting more effort in. Or it is splitting a singular moment of time and repeating it at different times, like a crystal does with light, the valley and the cave wall do with sound. Like the same thing comes back from having been refracted through geometric space, and therefore coming back at different times. I have one to read here. This is Lewis Carroll in a short poem called Echoes. Lady Clara Vere de Vere was 8 years old, she said. Every ringlet, lightly shaken, ran itself in golden thread. She took her little porringer of me, she shall not win renown, for the baseness of its nature shall have strength to drag her down. Sisters and brothers, little maid, there stands the inspector at thy door. Like a dog, he hunts for boys who know not two, and two are four. Kind words are more than coronets, she said, and wondered, looking at me. It is the dead unhappy night, and I must hurry home to tea.
Steve, I wasn't ready for that to end. And I think we keep asking for this. It's really interesting to me. So many of us, so many times we're asking for it to be read again. But I think it's just with poetry, you're not, it's we need the echo. We need the second sounding. Would you do it again?
Mm-hmm. Lady Clara Vere de Vere was 8 years old, she said. Every ringlet, lightly shaken, ran itself in golden thread. She took her little porringer of me, she shall not win renown, for the baseness of its nature shall have strength to drag her down. Sisters and brothers, little maid, there stands the inspector at thy door. Like a dog, he hunts for boys who know not two, and two are four. Kind words are more than coronets, she said, and wondering looked at me. It is the dead unhappy night, and I must hurry home to tea.
What's a porringer?
It's like a simple little bowl, not like this, a porringer, like a short, like cleaning your fingers or something.
I have one from E. Cummings that is not. I don't. Let's see. I don't believe. Let's see. It's been a while. It doesn't contain the word echo, but has an echoing in it.
That's all
And
right.
it is, yeah, and it's about, I think, the echo. Well, here, just listen. It's E. Cummings. It's I'm your standard for that weekly.
Or anything capitalized.
Yeah. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear, and whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful you are my world, my true. And it's you are whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of the sky, and the tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that keeps growing the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart.
Mm.
That has a nice sort of echo to it, right?
Hmm.
But it in no place is it echoing, but it's sort of especially when you're I think, with E. Cummings, it's not just the change of grammar and use of lack of capitalization and sentence structure. It's something about well, at least for me, I just have to see it. I can't just hear it.
That's how I feel with his poems too.
Oh, okay, good, good.
Yeah, that works for me.
Yeah.
Here's one that I'm working on. Our voices finally burble up from unknown dimensions, unknown depths, through gantlet of troubled tongue, clenching teeth and trembling lips. A sound sputter spews forth. No, more whisper than shout, more suggestion than demand, without the exclamation that is its birthright. The powers that be take little note, but something important was born today. The whimper lost in light breeze and authoritarian bluster. Perhaps, like great, 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 great grandchild, will echo one day this plaintive plea. No!
Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful. Plaintive plea.
Yeah, I think if it's kind of generic, so I think if it was a little more specific, it would be more emotionally grabby. But on the other
Mm.
hand, being a bit generic maybe allows different people to see something in it. I don't know. Here's
I
a
think
short,
maybe you mean ambiguous as opposed to generic?
yeah, yeah, although it's not ambiguity, like ambiguity I think suggests something's clouded and there is something under it.
General rather than
So yeah,
Oh, okay. That's
I have
interesting, yeah.
specifically pointed at what the no is toward,
Okay.
which make it stronger, you know, but narrows the audience. So I don't know if I'll play with it or not, but it feels like it could be done differently, maybe to better effect. So this one is a short one. It's I don't think it has a name. Sunrise, Kunlun, return is the movement. Stillness is stillness. Ah,
so
Well,
short.
I'm right here, and I'll ask since it's short, read it again. I was right there, but still.
sunrise, Kunlun, return is the movement. Stillness is stillness. Ah, the sunrise is in the east and the Kunlun Mountains are in the west.
Mm.
And that's an echoing, repeating pattern.
Hmm.
Sunrise to Kunlun. Return to the movement is a phrase pointing at the Tao Te Ching, which is that, as we suggested earlier, all movement is return. everything returns to the origin. But that's distinct from stillness being stillness. So that's for all you Taoists out there. You have one you were going to read tonight?
After what I've heard, I'm not sure I want to read it, but I was actually thinking that I put this together really fast. And I would like, I've been thinking about how to, make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like some feedback to that end, if you would, a group. So this is called From the Restroom.
No, that's a horrible title. Oh, when did you want feedback? Afterwards.
Hey, you're
I
so
have a bucket of tomatoes that we made.
So this is an apostrophic poem addressing something which cannot respond. And it addresses the nymph Echo in Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, unhappy nymph thou art, scorned by Hera, destined to be ever apart from him thou lovest, methinks it unjust. It may be that your curse has transferred to me, for I stay up each night unable to sleep. I sit on the pot, for I think I should not disturb others with my tossing and turning, over and over the same thoughts burning, repeating. What anxiety drives me to these endless rounds? Did I forget something? What happens tomorrow? And the next day, next week? I know how it sounds, but I am a man of constant sorrow. Echo, I beg you, return where once you fled. Leave me in peace so I may rest quietly in bed. The end.
Jerry. Yeah, I think you should work on that. It's good. I don't know what is it that you've left unfinished, or you just meant that you did it quickly?
I did it quickly. I'm not sure that the themes or the ideas that I wanted got across as well, like really what was going on. I'm not sure that I said it well enough, clearly enough. Did everybody understand it? Okay. Good. It seemed like a little less clear than it could have been, I guess. I could have gotten what was going on. I thought to talk about some of the things that I think about more at night, thoughts that just keep turning over my head, keeping me awake.
Let me read you this. O unhappy nymph, unhappy thou art, scorned by Hera, destined to ever be apart. From him thou lovest, methinks it unjust. It may be that your curse has transferred to me, for I stay up each night unable to sleep. I sit on the pot, for I think I should not disturb others with my tossing and turning, over and over the same thoughts burning, repeating. What anxiety drives me to these endless rounds? Did I forget something? What happens tomorrow? And the next day, next week? I know how it sounds, but I am a man of constant sorrow. Echo, I beg you, return where you once fled. Leave me in peace so I may rest quietly in bed. I just thought I should echo that.
Very good. And you know what? Hey, Harry, no offense here, but it was it's a good poem, and Steve read it better than you did.
He did. I agree.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, it's because you're too close to it. You're just not removed that step yet.
Well,
that was nice, Stephen. Echo.
I also have a slightly earlier version too, so I could see a couple of changes there that he made. For example, in the second line, he wrote the earlier one that I have was destined to ever be apart, and his reading was destined
to ever be apart.
How is it saying yours now?
It said I read it wrong.
Oh, you read it wrong. Oh,
yeah.
You didn't change it. Okay,
I didn't change it.
Because I was thinking it's stronger how I see it written. but I thought that you just, yeah, so I keep it then. I think that's stronger. This is probably easier for me to offer criticism because I'm reading it. Sorry. I could try putting it in the notes if you guys wanted to see it now rather than later, but one thought I had is where you say over and over the same thoughts burning. I feel like rather than same, if it said something like fiery thoughts, to emphasize the burning, or if burning was repeated and then repeating was repeated, somehow the same thoughts burning, and then repeating, or something like that, just to kind of hit the burning. Because otherwise it's just turning followed by burning, like sort of a simple rhyme. And it doesn't like hit with an emotional weight.
I agree with you.
Whereas if it's stronger with adjective or repetition or something, and obviously if you have a stronger word like singeing, but then you don't have the rhyme, so
but that could be reworked,
Yeah, that's one thought.
Singeing is too much like singing, so
yeah. And then when it says what anxiety drives me to these endless rounds, I think, and this might not be what you mean, but if anxiety was capitalized, that would be very strong. Like anxiety as a Greek
personification,
thing. Or, and here's what I prefer, is if it said whose anxiety drives me. Like then it's not even necessarily like you're haunted by something. It might not even be yours. Like am I worrying somebody else's worries? That sort of thing. Which might not be what you mean, so then you don't have to keep it, but that's what I was thinking. The other part, as much as I like A Man of Constant Sorrow, I want to sing it.
It was too quick, obviously.
Yeah,
it's not.
And I'm wondering if it takes us out of it as an anachronism, because we hear it as the Misty Mountain Boys or whatever they're called, the Foggy Mountain Blues. Even though I dig the phrase so much. I wonder if what you're really trying to say is constant sorrow or not, or it just came out of you because it came out of phrase. So then, out of tomorrow, keeping sorrow sounds good, but what if it was, am I destined to be a man of, ache and sorrow, or something like that, or returning to the burning idea. Am I destined to be a man of this burning sorrow, or something like that? Where we're getting hit with that burning again, and you keep the rhyme, and it doesn't take me out of it with the anachronism of Man of Constant Sorrow. But I feel really bad suggesting taking the phrase Man of Constant Sorrow out of anything because it's so great.
I'll write a poem for that.
Yeah.
Alone. I have one other question for everybody, if you would just indulge me. The first paragraph, if you will, is sort of old style, like old English, not old English, like Renaissance English. And then I go back to modern English.
Right.
Is that off-putting, or is it, because I'm talking about two different things that, I'm addressing echo, which is classical, and yet I'm coming back to personal, kind of modern times, real times. Is that jarring in the
It is, but I thought it was purposely jarring.
It just happened. It wasn't purposely.
But it reads like I'm trying to. It would be like if you were to get an audience with the president, right, or the queen or something, you might kind of formalize your speech and everything. But maybe you have an audience with them that's such a compelling, important concern of yours that after you get through the initial how do you do, it just comes out as who you are because it's the thing you care about so much. So you just kind of lose track. So I think if you were going for that or wanted to, maybe kind of recovering yourself at the end and returning to that, classical phrasing, even in the last couplet, that would be nice. Or if in the middle of it, you literally spell out like forget this binary language. Here's how I'm feeling. Like you literally cast it off. That would be interesting too. How about you? You two? What do you?
I
For
thought it
me,
was,
oh, go ahead, Darcy.
no, you please go ahead.
Thanks. For me, I kind of get the sense like with like how you begin with that, like and moving through the poem to, and forgive me, like I'm not remembering all of it clearly, but just like the sense that I'm having is like once we start to see you in present time, as it were, it adds like this layer of like torment. Like you're kind of, from what I remember, it's like you in present time, like regurgitating or remembering like these echoes in your mind, and like the sense I get is like starting off with the poem adds this like really nice layer of like something from your past, whether it's this like classical training or maybe some deeper echoes somehow, adding this really like nice level of like psyche to the poem. For me, that's how I'm remembering it,
I
if that
believe
made any sense.
I believe Psyche and Echo are related in mythology, but I don't have that exact family tree.
Narcissus and Echo, not sure about Psyche, but they're both, similar Greek myths in the sense of Ovid talked about both of them, but I don't think they were actually related, Psyche and Echo.
Okay.
Could be. I'll go back to the actual bullfinches or something. I read up about Echo. She was in love with Narcissus. Well, first of all, she was cursed by Hera for being,
Right.
I guess, I'm not sure why she was cursed. I don't know the reason, but she was cursed to only speak other people's words back to them. And so tried to tell Narcissus that she was in love with him, but all she could do is use his words. And he sort of disdained her. And so she ran away into the forest or something like that, into the wilds. And then, of course, he was cursed by falling in love with himself, his picture of himself. And he just sort of turned into a flower on a riverbank somewhere. I did read a lot of mythology, and I like classical poets.
I remember early on, I thought that's what I would do for a living. Something with
Classical
mythology. Yeah. Then I realized there's no job in mythology. So,
it's a myth.
yeah, exactly. Here's one. Here's a Taoist poem on echoes, untitled. In the quiet forest where shadows dance, echoes awaken from their slumbered trance. They ripple through time like ancient streams, whispering secrets in moonlight's gleam. Each sound we release, a stone in the pond, sending ripples outward and then beyond. The wind carries whispers, the leaves softly sigh, echoes of existence as moments pass by. Mountains listen closely, their peaks touching sky. They cradle the echoes where eternity lies. The Tao flows unseen like a river's embrace, echoing wisdom in every sacred space. In the stillness of dawn, when the world is hushed, listen to the echoes where truth is brushed. They speak of impermanence, of cycles unending, life's sweet refrain forever descending. So let us be echoes in this cosmic play, dissolving into silence as night turns to day. For in the echo's return, we find our way home, a Taoist symphony where all souls roam.
Cool.
So the reason that I read that one is that I had AI write it. And
I was wondering, okay, I have one from Claude too, but Steve, it said where souls, with the use of souls at the end, made me question the
interesting.
Taoist understanding.
Well, I thought that AI is just an echo of our humanity.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it would be an interesting thing to ask it what it thought about echoes. So that's why that one.
I asked Claude to write a haiku about echoes.
What's
And
Claude?
I think it's okay. Claude is it's a product of it's an AI that is based on a large language model. It's owned by a company called Anthropic, and so it's just a product. It's just the name of a product. So the haiku. I lost it.
If you send it to me, just make sure you mention that it's AI. So when I put it in
Yeah, for sure. It's only okay, and so I think that's interesting too. Voices resonate, reverberating soft sounds, nature's symphony.
yeah, they both poems had the word symphony in them.
Interesting.
What words did you use or to tell it what to write?
Yeah, it's called prompting, just like Steve prompts us for what next week is going to be. I think Steve even sometimes uses the word prompt. And just like I might prompt you, I might prompt you to do something. A prompt is just giving it instructions. So in this case, I literally just asked, write a haiku about echoes. I'm sorry, about echoes. Obviously, if I had said echo, then we would have gotten something on the myth. But yeah.
Interesting.
It's quite interesting, Harry, if you haven't played with it.
I have.
It's simple to do, and it costs nothing at this time, and it's worth staying up on. It does not there are large language models that interface with the internet and some that do not. Claude does not. So Claude is only using what it's been fed, which is interesting, but this is a development over many, 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 many years and different systems. Google has one that is obviously part of the internet too. So you get both artificial intelligence, which is large language model machine learning, as opposed to search engine internet like we're used to. Now you can use artificial intelligence like a search engine that has its benefits, but you can ask it to do like write a poem about echoes in the style of William Yeats, whom I assume you like with your background. And it will in seconds give you a poem in that style on that topic. Now it's learning and it's certainly not perfected. It's not, don't think of artificial intelligence as replacing humans, but as assisting us. It can maybe a place to find inspiration, have a conversation, learn something new, ask questions. It's not just repeating, it's actually pulling together various modes of thinking. And it's fascinating. It's something to not get too far behind on, I think, personally. But
So let's give everybody a chance to offer a word or a phrase or title.
Rational.
everybody.
Apologetic.
Dreamer.
Rational, apologetic dreamer.
Yeah, it's pretty good all together, huh? I'll read this
What about
poem.
your word?
Eclipse, agile, settle, kindling, boundarylessness, correspondence, apologetic. Those are Darcy's words so far. So I'm gonna offer another style of prompt for this week. And so I'm thinking of, this is word groups misheard or multiply heard or multiply meant. So, for example, IF space LIGHT, right? That could be heard as if light, and it could be heard as if flight. When it's spoken, not when it's written. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's your word pair for this week. If light, which could just be the title of a poem or a word that's in a phrase in the poem, but the idea is that at some point in the poem, it can be heard a different way with a different meaning. So the poem can take a turn.
I'm sorry, did you say there's a name for that kind of twist, or
No,
did I?
I'm calling it misheard or multiply heard
Oh, okay.
combinations.
And the actual one you want us to use is if light or IF.
IF space LIGHT. Right. But I would certainly be happy if anybody thinks of some others like that, and I can just add them to the list. Like, you know, if you think of some others. Yeah, exactly right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Give me a second. I had one. Oh, no, never mind. It's a phrase that does that. Never mind.
That's fine. I'm gonna just read one more here just because I brought a printout. Thank you.
Thank you.
The long lit day slowly fell silently, and somehow suddenly, if one dared to look into the dark mother of despair, the sun's epitaph perhaps written if someone cared to look, in the solemn cacophony of these few mute witnesses, those stars. I left a word out when I read it. It didn't work as well as I wanted.
Which word did you leave out?
Somehow, the second, third to last line. I'll read it again. The long lit day slowly fell silently, and somehow suddenly, if one dared to look, into the dark mother of despair, the sun's epitaph perhaps written if somehow someone cared to look, in the solemn cacophony of these few mute witnesses, those stars.
So it fell silently into the solemn cacophony to opposing.
Yeah. And I really wanted to have those stars at the end to suddenly make it seem far away. And mute and cacophony, yeah. This one's probably just in process. So.
Why despair? Or mother of despair, either one.
Well, the point here is that it isn't despair, but it's the birthplace of despair. So you may see that if that's where you are. So it's just a blank, empty night. So the loneliness, the emptiness. And, it sets up the stars as witnesses rather than participants. And when we finally arrive at the stars, it's those stars, not these stars, to emphasize existence. I'll read another here.
Whoa, hold on a second. This is being recorded somehow. Thank you.
The dew will fail to pool, catching light, becoming air. A daytime dream briefly held, whisked away like every day. The forest of grass receiving a star shower of overnight starlight, which pooled in places in the fields. Silken hammocks, spider stitched, for the briefest low light momentaries as a fogged breath might. They seemed to give me cause to think that they may have caught the moonlight. Though in time the sod and sun will drink the dew, and the day's demands will leave trodden the patches and the paddocks of silver, of sun, of moon, of stars, of magical pools.
Patches in the paddocks. Huh?
Mm.
Oh. That was moving.
Thank you. It's just from walking around the farm before I woke up doing the practice. Okay.
Doing a practice.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for making the effort.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I love it, Steve. Thank you. Thank you, Harry. Nice to
Have a
see
good
you.
couple of weeks. I'll see you in 2.
Yeah, I'll actually be there in a couple of weeks too. Hi, Luna. I always forget Luna's name because I want to call it Raven.
Thank you all.
I won't be here on the 30th, but I'll be up in Connecticut on the 31st.
Yay.
Yeah, so I won't make it 2 weeks from now. But anyway, okay, bye. See you soon. Leave door.